What is good, everyone? This is the Common Critic on the Fed by Ravens Media Network, and we're excited because today, the long-awaited, I'm not going to call it a sequel, I'm not going to call it a reboot, it's just a new thing. We're doing The Suicide Squad.
Not anything else, yeah.
As directed by James Gunn with a stacked cast. Yeah. I would argue probably this cast more stacked than the previous one. I don't even want to talk about the previous one.
We can't. We're going to have to reference it a little bit, I think.
It's definitely going to be brought up. It's going to be impossible to not compare these two, right? But I believe James Gunn was asked a while ago, which is why I brought up the whole reboot or sequel. People asked him, what is this? And he's like, it's just a movie.
The Suicide Squad.
It's just The Suicide Squad. And that goes to show you how bad the first one was, because it was like so bad. They're like, let's just pretend it never existed and just keep going.
Kind of did,
but it kind of does, because
you still
they bring back some of the same characters,
Waller and Flag and
Boomerang and Harley
Quinn.
I
was so happy when he died real fast.
You didn't like Boomerang?
No.
I kind of liked him for the first one. I think he was one of the few things I liked from the first one. I thought he was like kind of funny. Yeah. I like the actor, Jai Courtney. He's been in some.
I do like the actor.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not saying that. I just.
Am I heartbroken that he was killed off almost immediately?
No.
But like, yeah, there's like a few similarities. I don't think there's really any callbacks to like the first one.
No, not that I can think of.
Not that I can think of either.
Yeah.
Before we really get into it, let me ask you this. How excited were you for this movie?
Not as excited as you.
I was out of my mind.
Kind of like we talked about last week with all these different reviews or movies coming up and stuff.
Yeah.
When I saw the trailer for it, I was probably about a 6.
Okay, that's fair.
And so I wasn't like over the moon excited, like, oh my gosh, this is going to be amazing.
I was psyched because James Gunn.
Yes.
I trust him.
Yeah, he does.
Right?
He does well.
For those of you who don't know, how this went down is some of James Gunn's old stand-up comedy bits were leaked from like the early 2000s. Look, kosher for early 2000s comedy, not kosher for today's comedy, which is one thing. I think comedy, you should be able to say.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, that is weird. But Disney got a little scared and fired him, right?
Yeah.
But Warner
Brothers rehired him, right?
Yeah, well, they rehired him after Warner Brothers came out and said, hey, we don't have any standards. We'll hire you, is what they said.
Amen.
Amen,
yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So Disney heard that James Gunn was given full reign of Suicide Squad. They said, do whatever you want. And they said, nothing is off the table. Absolutely nothing.
And
yeah, we'll get into it later. But Disney heard about it, and I think they got a little jealous and said, fine, you could come back to do Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Yeah.
Especially since Taika Waititi came out and straight up said, I'm not doing Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Don't even offer. I'm not going to disrespect my friend James Gunn like that.
Yeah.
So I think they panicked because Guardians of the Galaxy is such a successful franchise.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, it's a good move on their part.
I think it's a very good move.
And I don't think they can handle any more lawsuits either.
No, definitely not. You want to know who's the real winner throughout all of this? Sean Gunn.
Yes. I just saw it. So
this dude's getting paid millions to play stand-ins for CGI animals because he was the stand-in for Weasel in this. How are the Gunn brothers suckering these two studios so well, man?
They're doing good. Because I didn't know that was Sean Gunn, the Weasel.
Yeah.
That's why I started laughing right before we started recording. I was going through the character list and the cast. And I'm like, of course Sean Gunn's the Weasel.
Of course Sean Gunn is Weasel. Right.
For those of you who don't know, he's played all the CGI characters in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes.
For his brother, I should say.
Yeah, not only is he Kraglin, he's also the stand-in for Rocket in Infinity War and Endgame.
Yes.
Right? So kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
Sean Gunn again, how the Gunn brothers are pulling off this heist on these two.
Shame on all my brothers for not being famous.
I know,
right? Just be a
CGI stand-in. Right. Well, look, we're doing something a little new. As we told you last week, Dallas no longer on the cast. We are looking for a third person, but until then, the third person will be the audience. We're going to start doing audience scores that will be posted 24 hours before recording on our Instagram story. You could check that out. And we had a great turnout, I think, for relative size on our Instagram story. We had a little under 40 people give their scores on that. Now, do you want to? I don't think do you want to know the audience scores? We'll get into scores right now.
Yes, let's get into it. Dallas, they'll replace our because usually Dallas goes first, so we'll have to do audience first.
Now, one thing I forgot to do is whether it's worth it or not. So I'm just gonna. The audience gave it an 8.5.
Wow.
Total.
Wow.
Yeah, very, very high scores. A few very low ones, and a few people just flat out gave it the 10, just all the way up on the marker. Yeah, so a little under 40 people. 8.5 is the audience score. Wow. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
A large sample size.
Yeah, that's good. 8.5. That sounds like it's probably being between me and you again.
I think it's going to be split between us. I almost thought about wanting to guess your score, but I'm not going to shame myself.
So I'll tell you, I did something different this time while watching it.
Okay,
I tried your way and my way at the same time.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Try to meet in the middle or something? Okay.
Funny enough, if I started scoring it like you, it'd be lower than if I scored it like what I usually score.
Interesting.
Starting at 10, going backwards.
Okay, so let's keep the way you do things then.
I was actually lower with the way you do it.
All right.
So, but I don't know. Maybe it's just because I was more biased towards the way I do it. But
all right, let's hear it.
I give it a 7.
That's higher than I thought. Okay. I was going to guess you were going to give it between a 6.5 and a 7.
Okay.
Probably.
Yeah. I was there. That's about right. And
Is it worth it?
Oh, heck yeah.
Heck yeah. Okay, yeah. I like that.
I went heck here in Utah. I almost had a slip of the tongue there.
Oh, my heck yeah.
Oh, my heck yeah. Yes, it's definitely worth it. I say that cautiously because, I don't know, like, some of my friends and, like, their parents watched it and they didn't like it. I'm like, well, it's not really suited for you.
Yeah, it's not really a senior citizen.
So I'm just kind of like, maybe put the brakes on that. I mean, if you're familiar with any comic books or you just like fun, gory movies, it's just
ridiculous.
It was a good time. Yeah, obviously there's things I didn't like, but it wasn't enough to keep it from getting to a 7 because I was hovering around 6.5. Mm-hmm. But the more I digested it, the more I thought about it, it came.
How many times did you watch it?
Just once.
Just once? Okay.
Yeah. But I watched, like, parts of it, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
Clips.
Oh, okay.
So
I gotcha.
Afterwards. My favorite clips. So that's probably why it's a little higher.
A little higher?
Yeah. Because it had some it had some really good moments, I think.
It had some really fantastic moments, yeah.
How about you?
So let me preface this. I watched it 3 times this weekend. Each time I watched it, the score got higher. Which is rare, because usually I watch it and I think things stable a little bit.
Stabilized, but it kept getting higher and higher.
It just kept getting higher.
There's some movies like that out there.
There are a few movies like I really like this. And I'm not going to tell you my score yet, but it's addressed a few of the things. You guys could check out on our YouTube channel. A few months back, I made a video about all the problems I think DC movies are having. And I think this movie has addressed all the problems.
Just get out of the director's way.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Warner Brothers.
I'm giving it a 9.2.
Okay. Lower than I thought. I thought you were going to give it another 10.
It started at an 8, and then it went to a 9, and then it went to a 9.2.
That's good. I'm glad you had it higher than Black Widow.
This is, definitely. This is what I'm going to say. This is what I'm going to be known as for the podcast. You're known for always saying 100%, and I'm going to be known for what's the name of the game, man? Character development. And I think that's why it's gone up so high for me. I love these characters. Love them. Mm-hmm. Even Pete Davidson's Black Knight that was in here for all of 35 seconds.
I was so sad.
I thought it was hilarious.
So that scene right there, the beginning of that.
Let's talk about the beginning scene, and I'll get into these characters.
Okay, sorry. No, you're obviously worth it for you as well.
Very worth it. Yeah, very worth it.
Yeah, character development. So I like that first scene. I thought, okay, this is the Suicide Squad. Right? Because
clearly people are going to die.
Yeah.
Because it didn't happen in the first Suicide Squad because nobody died.
Except for that guy that can grapple.
Yeah. Slipknot. Yeah.
That was terrible.
So dumb.
Terrible. Anyway, so Boomerang got killed. Mm-hmm. Happy.
I'm a little indifferent, right?
His face blows off.
Unhappy.
Guys with his arms that come.
He's not the first death.
I know, but I'm just giving you my.
Okay.
What made me happy? What made me unhappy? The guy's arms that come off.
Hilarious.
Yes. I was laughing, and then he dies. So I was like, Isn't his name like
the detachable kid?
Yeah, so TDK, right?
Yeah. He just,
that was hilarious. And then what's his name? Oh, I can't think of his name.
Savant, Michael Rooker's character.
Yeah, Michael Rooker.
Yes,
Michael Rooker.
Yeah, and then oh my gosh, who's the German actor from Pitch Perfect 2? Something Flula-Borg, I don't know, who plays Javelin. Very funny, right?
Flula-Borg?
Yeah, Flula-Borg. Wow, I can't believe it.
Javelin. Yeah, that was good. So I sad that he died.
Yeah, it was alright. Like, because in the trailers, when they showed them walking the American flag, right, I was like, okay, all of you except for Rick Flag and Harley are dead. All of you, right? I knew that from the trailer, right? Yeah. And I knew a little because James Gunn came out and said, look, do not get attached to anybody in this movie. He's like, Warner Brothers gave me full, license to do whatever. And he even teased that he killed off Harley. He was teasing that he was going to kill off Harley, right?
Glad he didn't.
I'm glad he didn't, because I think this...
Spoilers.
Yeah. Whatever. This is probably my favorite Harley character that we've seen so far. She's a little more tame. But going back, this starts off immediate. There is no wasting time in this movie, right? Weasel jumps out dead. Just instantly dead, right?
I wasn't too sad about that because it creeped me out.
No, but it's just funny, right?
Yeah.
And I think I like that the whole Task Force X, the Amanda Waller team, runs like a normal office. Nobody checked to see if Weasel could swim. No, that was my fault. It's not my department, right?
The printer's not working.
Yeah, exactly. Who clogged the printer? No one says anything. Because it even goes with Bloodsport and the rats.
Someone got to call it tech.
Yeah. Hilarious, right? The whole opening beach scene, very, very funny for different ways. One for the gore, right? Usually gore is associated with funny, but you could kind of get away with it in different ways. This was hilarious.
Yes, I enjoyed it very much.
So, like I said, I work from the 10 down. This is like...
You're still at 10 now.
Oh, absolutely, right. Even going back to when we...
That catapulted mine to like 5 or something.
Did it? Yeah. So, wow, that's a huge jump for the first few minutes, right? Then I tell you... Then we get introduced to Bloodsport, played by Idris Elba. By the way, I would watch anything with Idris Elba in it. Yeah.
He's fantastic.
He is fantastic in this movie. Not to mention the chemistry he has with the crew around him. That main crew, or I guess you could say maybe the Team 2, right?
Are they Team 2 or Team 1? I think Team 2 got the distraction.
No, I think they're technically, I don't know what they are. We'll call them Team 2, right? Great chemistry. I love all those characters. They're the reason why I gave this such a high score. The way that Bloodsport and Peacemaker are playing off of each other, the way that Ratcatcher 2 and King Shark are becoming friends, the sympathy you build between you and the Polka Dot Man.
Dude, when I first heard the Polka Dot Man, I was like,
dumb. Dumb.
This is
I did not think he would last as long as he did. Right. But look,
I thought he was going to die off pretty soon. Especially when he goes in the back of the woods and leaves himself. I don't know what he's doing back there.
I don't know what he's doing either. I can only imagine. But look, it's credit to James Gunn for putting that team together so well, right? Would you say that group of characters is really
5 to 8.
Oh yeah, 100%. But that's James Gunn's forte, I think. That's why Guardians of the Galaxy worked. He can take a full ensemble cast and just make it work. Even some random characters like Polka Dot Man, Ratcatcher 2. I wonder what Ratcatcher 1 was like. I don't know. I never read comics about that one, but
we get a little bit of him.
A little bit.
Played by the great Taika Waititi.
Yeah, and then good old King Shark, played by Sylvester Stallone.
Fantastic, right?
Great. Yeah.
This is what I love about that group. They all see with group settings like this, they all don't need an intense character arc, but they need some sort of pivoting moment, some sort of small pivoting arc to where you see they aren't the same characters from the start to the beginning. And I think we see that in every single one. The execution of these characters is unbelievable, almost unmatched in modern comic book, right? And we can see that in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, right? But again, this is James Gunn we're talking about,
right?
Where you see Polka Dot Man from start to end, totally different character. Bloodsport, Peacemaker for different reasons.
I just remembered his mother.
That is hilarious.
Yes,
that whole thing. But especially, I'm going to say the standout character of this is Ratcatcher 2. fantastic. Yeah. Really loved her character.
Didn't see that coming when I was watching it. I was like, I catch her too. That's kind of dumb. But I wonder why she was why was she in prison? I didn't catch that.
So she, after her father died, she came to America and she robbed a bank with the rats. But they considered the rats to be weapons, so they called it armed robbery of a bank, and she got a big sentence, right?
Because she seemed very down to earth and not a criminal at all.
No, she didn't. She seemed very well. Her turn with King Shark is fantastic. Yeah. But look, Fred. His voicing is great. Yeah. His voicing is perfect for that. Yeah. Right. Here's an odd compliment. The way they tell Ratcatcher 2's backstory with they're on like the bus and you see her story through the glare of the window. What a fantastic effect. Like, I loved that way of storytelling.
Great effects all across the board. That was very
oddly good CGI for the most part. I don't think they had a huge CGI budget, but I think they spent it well, in the correct places.
There was a lot of CGI.
There was a ton of CGI, and I think there were moments I looked at King Shark and I was like, wow, the lighting doesn't suck, right? This doesn't look like the Black Panther fight from the end of that movie, right? Horrible CGI.
We gotta release this.
Yeah, right.
That's what it was like. Anyway.
But compliments to the storytelling and the effects on that.
Character, like you said, character development was very done very well. So, but I mean, there was a lot of, like I said, moments where I enjoyed between. Probably one of my favorite parts was between Idris Elba and John Cena.
Can I guess what it is?
Yeah, go ahead.
Is it when they're massacring the village? Because that's my favorite scene. Yes. That is my absolute top scene.
Just trying to one-up each other the whole way. And they get to this.
Yeah, non-lethal. Does it count? Does count if what you're doing looks dope as... Yeah. Dang it. He's right. Their chemistry is fantastic.
Great. Yeah, and I'm hit and miss with John Cena. Just so everybody knows.
I agree.
Sometimes John Cena is too wrestly. Is that
yes.
Yeah, too much John Cena can't see me.
This character is very wrestly, but not like, I don't know, it just works.
His helmet is hilarious.
His whole get-up looks awesome.
Yeah. I mean, and then the twist at the end. I mean, we'll get into that, I'm sure, after our break coming up here. But that was a great scene. They get to the tent of her
hilarious
rescue flag, and
I was laughing so hard when you realized that they're the good guys and they just massacred everyone.
How come they didn't come and warn me?
Oh, that's weird. How come I meant to? They weren't here.
I didn't see anyone. Did you see anyone?
And then Polka Dot Man is like, I pretended they were my mom and killed all of them. That part caught me off guard too. And he's all like, I don't really like to kill, but when I picture they're my mom, it's really easy to kill them. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Did I hear that correctly? Like, he pictures they're his mom.
But then again, his character development's great.
Yeah, and a little Star Lab cameo throughout.
Yeah.
Star Lab, very big in the DC comic universe. But this is the kind of stuff that I was hoping to see, right? Suicide Squad movie, obviously rated R, pretty much all for gore and guts, right? Hardly swears in this movie, too.
Yeah, a little language. But
yeah, James Gunn really just used the R rating for
the blood,
which that attracts a certain audience.
And some intense scenes.
Yeah, is there anything that made you cringe, maybe a little scene where you're like, oh, like...
I'm pretty desensitized.
Me too. I was gonna say I'm pretty desensitized, but there's some people like when Savant's head explodes.
Yeah,
and you like see his face like floating down into the ocean. You're like, oh.
Pete Davidson's face getting blown off. That was pretty gory.
Yeah. So
I wanted more Pete Davidson.
Did you?
I did.
I love Pete Davidson. I do. King of Staten Island is a fantastic movie, and he's probably the only good cast member left on Saturday Night Live.
Oh, Saturday Night Live still on air.
I watched the Elon Musk one. It was actually pretty funny.
Well, yeah, that makes sense.
There's a few funny cast members on there, but for the most part...
Obviously, I know Saturday Night Live is on.
Oh, okay.
I just don't watch it anymore because I don't think it's...
Maybe that's an episode. Maybe we'll have a Saturday Night Live special one day. I love SNL, man. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. I can see where you'd want Pete Davidson.
Old school SNL, for sure.
What are we thinking about Bloodsport? I love him. I think they did him far better than... Because I think they were essentially just going for how can we take Will Smith's character and do him better without actually having Deadshot?
Make 2 of them.
Yeah, essentially, right? I don't know much about Bloodsport, but I'm assuming this is how he is in the comics.
I would assume as well. I don't know. I liked all his tech on his suit and everything. That was pretty cool.
His suit rocked.
Yeah, and like he's kept adding, and it was. I was pleasantly surprised with that because I didn't know. Obviously, I didn't know much. I don't think anybody really knows much about a lot of these characters unless you're really into comics and reading DC all the time.
Well, James Gunn, he came out. I watched a lot of James Gunn stuff before this because I was so psyched. He said with the villain, right, Starro the Conqueror, he said, what is the most least known, stupidest villain in all of DC that he could get? What is just the lamest, weirdest, most unknown villain? And he's like, Starro the Conqueror. That's what I'm going to do.
That's my biggest gripe of this movie.
With Starro?
Yeah. It was the starfish.
This is what I'm going to do.
I understand probably it's more for comic. I don't know. It didn't strike a chord with me.
I'm only going to use this word maybe once or twice. I don't know if the FCC is going to get at us, but this is the word I'm going to use to describe this movie. Ballsy.
Okay.
It is, right? Starro, ballsy move, right?
Yeah.
Killing off 90% of your characters in the first 4 minutes? Come on, man.
It's very James Gunny.
It's very James Gunny, right?
Yeah.
And that's just 90% of the characters. 5% more of the characters die later on, right? Big names, right? And crazy characters. I mean, twists and turns. What they did with Harley. I think Harley, her storyline is something we should really talk about, right? But this is the word I'm going to use. Everything you say, I'm going to counter and say, I like it because it's ballsy.
No, I understand. I'm just saying, like I said, I really enjoyed this movie. I'm just saying, obviously the gripes that I have. That's why it's not higher. That one would probably be Starfish. And I don't know.
I'm not going to argue too much because I understand. Because one of my big gripes with DC in the past is that they've just done too much. They go too far, they go too big. And it was the big knock in the first Suicide Squad movie. Because I said in the first Suicide Squad, it's like, wow, you have some ancient Amazon witch about to destroy a third of the world.
And I agree with that.
It's too much.
It was way too much. And that's when we talked about it, that was one of the biggest things we all didn't like about that movie.
Yeah, and I could see where you're coming from, where Starro was just too much, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know. It seems it worked, but like it didn't. Like I was just kind of like, it was almost like a throwaway.
I'll play devil's advocate against my own opinions because I like it, but I'll join you for a second. I can see where you're coming from in the sense of this plot is super simple. The story is simple. There's really not much to it, right?
Squad, right?
Yeah,
they can't handle
huge, complicated, Justice League type
problems. So
I could see where you're thinking it's very simple and then something comes in and it's massive, it's complicated, it's alien, it's science, it's whatever. Right? Yeah. So I understand. And I'm with you. I like it, but I understand your opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
This is why we're
critic,
right? We're coming up somewhat towards the edge of the break. When we come back, I think a few things we should hit on. Harley Quinn's story. I want to talk about some more of the relationships and the different characters here. Again, we love this movie, but hey, stick with us. You're listening to The Common Critic on the Fed by Ravens Media Network. This is The Common Critic on the Fed by Ravens Media Network, going over the Suicide Squad. And if you've been joining us, Cody just had a big realization that he realized Taika Waititi plays Ratcatcher 1.
Yes.
A very short, practically a cameo.
Yeah. I don't catch cameos very well, I'll be honest.
He was like one of the highlights of the movie. Like when I watched it the first time and I was thinking some of the like good parts, because there's a throwback scene when Ratcatcher 2 is like reminiscing about her father, and he says, she's all like, why rats? And he says, well, rats are like the most vile and low lives, but even they have a purpose. So if they have a purpose, then so do we. I was like, oh, that's kind of philosophical, right? And I was like, oh, that's Taika Waititi. Yeah. Right? What a fantastic, because I saw that he was going to be in here.
I don't know why I didn't register. I just didn't register.
It's all good. But one thing I really want to talk about in this segment is Harley Quinn's story. But before that, there's one more moment in relationship I want to talk about before we forget. And it's the moment after the club when Bloodsport, Rick Flag, and Peacemaker all get captured. Mm-hmm. And they're in the back of the armored vehicle. Right. And Bloodsport's, he starts talking about the dim mock, right? The one hit kill. Before I watched Suicide Squad, I watched The Men Who Stare at Goats, and a big one of The Men Who Stare at Goats is George Clooney was hit with the dim mock. Yeah, right. And
that's why I didn't make that connection.
I can't believe it, but I was like, man, I love these three guys together. Right when he's all like, oh, the dim mock, you could kill a man with one hit. And the other guy's like, oh, that's not possible. He's like, oh, it's possible. And then Peacemaker is like, on one. And Rick Flag goes, one. And they all do. I'm like, oh, that is so awesome. And Peacemaker takes the shotgun and they have their great escape. I'm like, man, these three guys together, awesome. I wish there was, if I had a big change, it's not going to knock points, but I wish I would have seen more of those three.
That's fine. We can talk about changes and stuff. Doesn't mean it has to affect the score.
Just things I would have liked to have seen.
Like a big starfish. With the big eye. But
almost makes you feel a crazy thing before we get into Harley again.
Like it's taken down by rats, but
I thought it was hilarious.
That part was cool, but
oh yeah, it's not your city, it's not their city. Or our city, it's their city. Right? The rats. Yeah. But even Starro at the end, you almost feel sympathetic when he says, I was happy just floating and looking at the stars. I didn't want any of this. Yeah. Right? Gosh, James Gunn is so good with what he does.
With weird characters.
Yes. Super weird.
That makes you feel like with, Rocket.
Yeah, Rocket. One of the biggest sympathetic.
And Groot.
Yeah.
So when I first saw that, previews for that, I was just like, that's dumb.
Everyone thought Guardians of the Galaxy was going to flop, and it's like one of the most beloved franchises of all time.
And he did it with Suicide Squad.
Yes.
What did we score the first Suicide Squad? I mean, it was low.
I'm going to give it like a 1 or 2.
Like a 2, right? 1 or 2?
Between all of us? Did we do a podcast on it?
We did. We ripped it apart.
Oh, we did, didn't we? Yeah.
Maybe we should have Jamie look that up.
Yeah, I don't know.
But, no, so for it to go from 1s and 2s to 7 and above, 7 for me, 8.5 for the audience score.
And 9.2 for me.
Well done, James Gunn. Well done.
Yeah, so let's talk about Harley. Enough stalling. This is a credit I'm going to give James Gunn. There are moments where I forget she's psychotic. There's moments where I forgot she was psychotic. Yeah, until she shoots the president. Right?
Didn't see it coming.
There are a few moments where I'm like, yeah, you're weird, but I could see where you're kind of a normal person, right? When she starts having that relationship with the president, she realizes at the time she thinks he's a good guy. And, right. And then when she shoots him, I'm like, oh yeah, you are like a psychotic, right. But this is the best I think we've seen Harley Quinn so far.
100% agree.
Yeah.
That's my quote, I guess. 100%.
100%
agree. Yes, that scene where she escapes was my favorite scene, hands down, in the whole movie.
I've heard that a lot. Yeah,
for me,
that's probably my second favorite scene, action scene like that. Right
after the duel between the one we talked about earlier.
Yeah, the village massacre.
Yeah, right. That was more funny for me. But I think
when it comes to like fun, like action, that one was.
Well, it shows how talented Harley Quinn is.
That she can handle herself. Yeah.
Because a lot of people probably just kind of dismiss her. As I think I have after Birds of Prey. I was just kind of like,
freaking most forgettable film I've ever watched.
Like in the first Suicide Squad, she was like, oh, she's good. Like she was really good. Like I enjoyed her in the first one, but it didn't really show her.
Yeah. This is the problem with
the way she actually is.
We talk about female characters a lot. And usually it's pretty hit or miss, right?
Yeah.
The first Suicide Squad, it's a huge miss because she needs the Joker to escape, right? She can't do it on her own. In this, it says, I'm Harley. I can handle myself. I don't need the team or anything. And I can handle it. Great escape scene. And Margot Robbie actually did the escape herself when she grabs the key, flips herself, and unlocks the lock with her foot.
Wow.
That's all Margot Robbie, right?
That is awesome.
Which is why
makes it even better for me.
Well, here's some sad news for you. Margot Robbie thinks this is the last time she'll play Harley Quinn. She thinks she won't come back in. So I'm glad at least she ended on a good note.
I don't think that's true.
You don't think that's true?
No.
It's paid the right amount, she might come back, but
that's why they do it for, right? They're like, I think I'm done, and then I think that's how they get more money.
They get more money, but look, either way, whether she gets more or she doesn't, I'm happy with this performance. It's the best we've seen Harley. Maybe I would have liked to have seen more, but look, I can't complain with how well it's been done.
Yeah, I think she's fantastic, and with that scene. The thing I don't know, the color palette and the whole scene.
Oh, yes.
But the thing, what was it? Flowers?
The flowers just exploding? At first view, I was trying to find some deeper meaning. Like, all right, what is this? Is this her, like, metaphysical, like, emancipation? Yeah. Is this the one? And on second and third, I'm like, this is just a cool effect. This is just fun. This is cool.
This is like James Gunn. King Shark rips apart that guy and there's lightning in the background.
Just for fun.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a fun comic book movie.
Yeah, sometimes I find myself trying to find the deeper themes, so I try not to do it too often because I try to just enjoy. Like with Guardians of the Galaxy 2, the big thing is the development of Star-Lord's father, right? He has all these daddy issues, and then he finds his dad, hates him, realizes Yondu was father the whole time. With this, I really don't think there's too much outside of the individual characters, right?
Yeah.
Each character has their own moments, but for the most part, I don't think there's anything that deep. You could really just go in and enjoy it and not dissect this movie too much.
No, I don't think it's deep philosophically or anything like that, especially with the starfish as a I know I keep harping on that as the main villain, or even the guy who controls it. I can't remember his name. The Thinker. Yeah, that was a miss for me too.
I don't know. I thought it was
just kind of like,
all right. He's pretty forgettable. I feel like he's just he's point B, right? To get to A to C, you have to go through B, right? Yeah. I think that's just all he was. Forgettable, serviceable.
I agree. That's that. So, anyway, kind of just harping on that over and over again, I know. But kind of going back to what we were talking about with the 3, with the Flag and
Peacemaker and Bloodsport.
Kind of sad we're not going to get those 3 together again. Flag is dead, is he not?
He's done for sure.
Peacemaker is dead.
Peacemaker's not dead.
He's not dead. Oh, that's right at the end. I forgot.
See, I didn't think he was dead because they already spoiled that John Cena's... I think he's already started filming his own Peacemaker. Today. Which after this, I'm like, ooh, Peacemaker TV show. I am all for that, man.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome. But I am very sad about Rick Flag.
Yes.
Like, I was almost devastated, right? I'm not pissed that killed him off, right? Because, look, you gotta... It's ballsy, and that's what.
Should we have an in memoriam for all the people that died?
Yeah, we're gonna do 2 seconds of radio silence. Okay. All right, thank you.
I was very sad about Rick Flag.
He had a great arc too. Look, Rick Flag in the first Suicide Squad was awful. He was just a puppet for Waller. In this, he feels more independent, right?
And he feels more connected to the team.
Yes, he does. Oh, that's what I love. I'm so glad you brought that up. Mm-hmm. Sure, he says, they're all dumb. Sure, I don't like him. I didn't choose him. But when he goes back and rescues Harley and he has that relationship, and even at the end, Bloodsport was like, man, Rick was my friend, right? The guy who's been so off-putting of everyone the whole time is like, man, I miss my friend. Rick had that relationship with everyone. Oh, so good. Mm-hmm. And when he finally decides to turn against Amanda Waller and he's like, I wanted to serve my country, not protect its disasters or whatever. Oh, perfect character moment. Yeah. And then he biffs it, which sucks, but doing the right thing, right?
Yeah. Oh, the putter to the face. That was good too.
Was that that was a putter, yeah.
Because I thought she was going to kill him. Here we go. I thought for sure Bloodsport was dead. I thought, well,
for sure.
That sucks.
At that time, I was like, all right.
Because she doesn't stop for anybody.
No, she doesn't.
She doesn't care.
Big shout out to Viola Davis. Yeah. Great acting. She is perfect.
Is she going to kill everybody in that office?
Yeah. She's perfect as Amanda Waller. She's great.
Yeah.
When Bloodsport is threatening her and she just takes it, tells everyone to stand down. Good moments. This is what we want to see in the ruthless leader of the Suicide Squad, right?
Yeah.
So
very good. Almost like a Joker moment.
Very Joker-esque, sort of. Right. Let's talk about Peacemaker's turn, right? Because he has the famous line of when he says, I love peace. I cherish it with all my heart. And it doesn't matter how many men, women, or children I have to kill to get to it. Right? He's a man of his word. Yeah. Right? Because that's what was going to happen, right? And maybe we could call it a moral dilemma, right? I don't think I agree with him at all, but I'm going to play devil's advocate. If this gets out, suddenly the U.S. is compromised, it's a whole liability. His peacemaker liberty thing is now threatened. Right? Oh, I want peace. I want liberty. I want freedom for the country.
So it sounds like it's a selfish motivation.
I think it is a selfish motivation.
So what is true peace though? So if
whatever true peace is, I don't think it's what Peacemaker is going for. All right.
Yeah, killing women and children.
I think it's like
definitely not peaceful.
Yeah, I think it's like who was that general who wanted to bomb all of Korea during the Korean War?
Yeah, I can't remember his name.
I can't remember, but yeah, he's like, oh, you want to know a quick way to end the Korean War?
Yeah.
Drop nukes all over the country and then we're going to be done. Oh, then we have peace, right? That's peacemakers.
Yeah, no.
Neutralize all threats and everything, and then you have peace, right? That's not really it, right?
Yeah. Well, evil always thinks they're doing good, right?
Yes.
So it's interesting.
It is. So, geez, have we hit every character? I think
so.
We've pretty much.
Yeah, I think so.
You're looking through the IMDb.
Yeah.
So let me ask you.
I was sad about Michael Rooker.
Okay, let's talk about that. That threw me for a loop.
Yeah,
they focused on him so much at the beginning. I was like, oh, is he going to be like the pleasant surprise throughout the movie?
What was his superpower?
I think they made a joke about it at the beginning, right?
When he's throwing the ball against the wall?
Yeah, anything's a deadly weapon in his hands.
Okay.
And then Bloodsport's like, wait, you just said that about me. Right? And I think that's okay, so the relationship between Bloodsport, Peacemaker, and Rick Flag, they all have the same superpower. They don't have any superpowers. They're all just good at what they do. They're the same.
Yeah.
They're the same person, right? And I think that's why you love their relationship is they have the same abilities, same tactics, all that, but they have 3 different personalities, right?
Yeah.
Peacemaker, the do whatever you can to complete the mission. Rick Flag, the true leader, the one who's going to find the possibilities and protect the team to complete the mission. And then Bloodsport, that I don't care what goes on. I'm going to be selfish for my reasons, for my daughter, and get out of here. But he has that change of heart because when Amanda Waller says, when Starro is released, oh, you've completed your mission, just go home. And he says, she's right.
Yeah,
we're done. But he has that change.
He has the moment of clarity, right, where he has to turn around and do the morally right thing and save the village and save the people. So, yeah, good movie.
Let's talk about Starro more because I want to try and sway you a little bit. The only reason you don't like him is because he's stupid? Is that fair to say?
Are you talking about the starfish?
Yeah.
Is there a name for the starfish?
Starro the Conqueror.
How did I not know that?
It says it. They literally put text on the screen. It says Suicide Squad versus Starro the Conqueror.
Did I watch this movie?
Did you? I don't know.
I did. You watched it 3 times, though.
Yes, yeah, so I've caught some more.
I don't know if it's stupid. I think it's more of just... maybe it's stupid. I don't know. It's too...
It's ridiculous.
Maybe too ridiculous. Maybe too cartoony for me.
I could see that.
Because it felt like it was... I don't know, because it kind of goes along with it. But it just felt a little out of place for me. Yeah. Maybe if they designed them differently. I didn't like the little starfish that came out and go on people's faces and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm impartial on that, right?
Obviously, right?
But they sell me on it, right? So it's like
it was just kind of like so. That's pretty much my only big gripe about this whole movie is the villain, I guess.
Okay. With
it being the Thinker and Starro. I didn't even know his name, so.
I'm going to argue that they set up the stupidity of the villain right from the beginning.
When they caught it in the spaceship?
No, I'm talking in the beginning of the movie. I was talking to someone about this movie, and they said they couldn't get through it. They couldn't finish the movie. Because they thought it was just too stupid.
Okay.
And I said, that's the point. You're like, what do you mean that's the point? I'm like, it's supposed to be stupid. The Suicide Squad?
Yeah.
The bunch of randoms that know they're going to die? That's stupid, right? And start off from the beginning, right? The detachable kid. What, this guy just slaps people with his weasel? Some weasel that just eats kids and can't swim? Javelin doesn't even do anything. Even Captain Boomerang. What, he has a sharp boomerang that gets people right?
Javelin was pretty awesome in Harley Quinn's.
In Harley Quinn's, but the actual Javelin, blue and yellow suit with the long hair, right? Even Pete Davidson's characters, they're all stupid.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I understand that. I'm just saying.
Still, it's ridiculous, right? It's stupid in a good way. It's like, wow, this is like so ridiculous. I can't believe this
Star wasn't good. It was not ridiculous in a good way for me. It wasn't stupid in a good way for me like the rest of the movie was.
I thought it was because the guy in the control room was like, oh, it's a freaking kaiju. I'm like, okay. So now the Suicide Squad is going to have to, what's like the most ridiculous thing? A ginormous starfish that controls entire populations.
I understand. I'm not arguing with you.
I'm trying to work your score up a little. Pull out.
You're pulling out the wrong string.
Pull out your calculator. Let's whip out the Common Critic official score.
Okay.
At the end of this year,
for the audience.
Yeah. Right? 9.2 for me. At the end of this year, the Common Critic will be applying to be on Rotten Tomatoes, so we can curve the scores of Rotten Tomatoes.
I put the wrong number in. I'm all right. And 7 for me.
For you. So our official score, first time including the audience, gives us
8.2.
We're going to call it an 8.2.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
That's good. That's a good movie.
No, I think that's a very good movie. I think that's fair for all this. So one day when we are part of Rotten Tomatoes and we're destroying the man from the inside, right? That's the classic concept, right?
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do.
We're trying to do.
Until we get paid enough.
Yeah.
Just kidding. We'll never sell out.
Never. We had the chance to sell out a few times back in the day, and I didn't take it. There were a few on the podcast network at the time that we did. They said, oh, you should put it on Patreon, and you should have special episodes that people have to pay for to listen. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. Do you know how annoying that is? There's one podcast I really like to listen to, and I'm going to call them out. It. Yeah. Oh, geez. Now playing. They're 3 really good guys, right? Mm-hmm. I really enjoy listening to them, but they save a lot of their good movies for their Patreon that you got to pay for, and I'm like, I don't want to pay for that.
Yeah.
Right?
How much is it?
I'm too much. Right.
50 cents.
You want to hear a funny story from this weekend? This has nothing to do with the Suicide Squad movie.
Okay.
I work a booth at the local farmers market, right? I just sell t-shirts and stuff like that, right? Mm-hmm. There were these, I don't want to sound mean or anything, monks type Buddhists. They were white guys, but in like robes and shaved heads, and they were like banging on drums. They come every week. Right? And they do chants and stuff. They come every week. Well, this time I decide to talk to them.
Okay.
All right, so I go up to them. And I said, hey. I'm like, what are you guys about? The guy hands me a card. Right? And I'm like, oh, okay. And the other guy is like, do you read? And I say, no. No, I don't read. And I say, I watch movies.
Yeah.
But I don't read. I can't tell you the last time I read a book, man.
Fair enough.
But the guy hands me a book anyways of their like spiritual awakenings or whatever. So I say, oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it. And this guy looks me dead in the eyes and says, well, usually people give us donations for the books. And he's just staring at me. He has like face paint on.
Yeah.
Other guys banging the drum. There's people walking around us, and I'm just like,
did your heart start beating?
Yeah, like usually I'm really good at fending these people off. No, I got suckered into donating a few bucks to this guy, man. Again, we have a little bit more time left on the podcast. I think we're pretty much out of Suicide Squad stuff to talk about, but
well,
I just thought I'd share that story.
It's a good story. I have a similar story, but I don't know if it's appropriate over air, so I might have to tell you later.
Let's give it a shot.
Let's just say it has to do with Vegas.
Maybe next week. I think we'll have some time with Free Guy. By the way, we're doing Free Guy next week.
Yes, Free Guy. So go watch it, everybody.
Yeah,
so you can listen to it.
And because we'll have another audience score available for you.
We need audience scores, so we'll put it up Sunday so people have the weekend to watch it.
Sunday afternoon, be looking for it.
Yeah.
Big shout out to our listeners, our followers. Our account has been growing like crazy. So we're on the Fed by Ravens Media Network. thanks to you guys, our last episode that we had was #1 for individual episodes on the network last week. Yeah, thousands of listens.
Thank you, everyone.
Yes, and for those of you who may be watching on YouTube or something, please like and subscribe. We've been working. I think we should do some more fun stuff on our Instagram. Every now and then I ask a question. I do a poll. Cody, you're not very involved on Instagram.
I'm not. I'm sorry. I'm antisocial.
Yeah, you are. You have a TikTok, though, or something, right? Don't tell anyone. Hey, follow Cody on TikTok.
We should do a Common Critic TikTok.
Maybe. I thought about doing that. Do you think people would be interested?
Maybe should have pulled out there.
Would you follow us? Why not? Why not just do it, I guess? Yeah. Right. We're on everything else. I've been slacking on Twitter lately. Twitter's been hard for me to...
I think Twitter is just slacking, period.
I hate Twitter. Every time I get on that app, I think... Why am I still on this app? I think people should stop thinking for a while. Let's just
enjoy.
Be done with it for a while.
Just enjoy the movies.
That's what we try to do, right? I try
to do that. I feel like I come off as very cynical.
I think you should take this moment and defend yourself a little, because every now and then we get comments and
Cody,
DMs that say freaking Cody. Man,
I've just got to stay truthful to myself.
And I appreciate that, which is why I hardly ever have a problem with it.
I know. It's just really hard for me to give that high of a score.
Yeah.
Like, it has to be really, really good. Like, I have to, watch it multiple times over years for the score to actually go up. And so for me to give Suicide Squad a 7, a 7 is...
Big distinction.
That's really good. So I think our scores are very similar. As far as how we feel about it. Yeah. It's just different as far as between 1 and 10.
I think you're right. I think
that's the same as last week.
I think you and I feel the same on movies. Our scores just don't reflect well on each other.
So like Black Widow, you give it a 9. I was just like, that's insane to me, because I can't. There's no way I could give Black Widow a 9 because I felt like it was just the middle of the row Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, I see it, but I think you and I were on the same page about a lot of stuff. Yeah. Agreement and maybe too late and whatnot. Even Jungle Cruise a little bit.
Yeah, we agreed mostly on Jungle Cruise. It's just, yeah.
Yeah, no. So I think you and I are the same. I think we just think about scores differently. I'm more like a dunk contest judge that just throws out the 9s and 10s like they're...
Yeah, I'm more like Dwayne Wade.
You're the Dwayne Wade. You're the one who's gonna ruin Aaron Gordon's chance at winning a dunk contest.
So unfair.
Superman. Yeah. He's your owner now, man. You gotta. I think you have to start defending his scores.
No, I'm not gonna ever defend that.
Never defend.
Shame on him. Aaron Gordon should have won that.
No, I agree. Aaron Gordon should have won that. But hey, guess what? We're not a sports podcast. We're a movie podcast. Well, maybe one day we'll start a sports.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
That would be fun.
I mean, we have opinions on everything, so.
We sure do. Again, let me just reiterate this. We've already gone over this. Please, if you're on YouTube, like and subscribe right now. It's easy. Do it. You're going to get some bonus content. My little brother has been working on Star Wars stuff. He's like the resident Star Wars expert. He's going to get some stuff. Our Instagram has been going crazy lately. We ask a lot of questions. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. And apparently this week we're going to be getting a TikTok.
Let's do it.
I don't know what we're going to put on there. We're just going to do stuff. Let's put this on there. I don't know. Previews. I do previews on our Instagram of our store, of our podcast. So you could check that out if you want to get the gist of some of our thoughts. Our scores will always be on there. If you want to see past movies, you could look them up. Eventually, we will get a website that houses all of our scores, so you can go and search what we've given it in the past.
That'd be fun. That'll be good for me.
Yeah. Defend yourself a little bit. We'll always go and go off the Common Critic official score, right? And that's what Rotten Tomatoes will get eventually when we go in and destroy them from the inside. Anyways, hey, thanks for sticking with us. This has been Brandon and Cody with the Common Critic on the Fed by Ravens Media Network.